Hey everyone, this is my first YouTube video, audio to be precise, and depending on how well it does, I may upload reviews more often, the majority being Stephen King book reviews since he is my favorite author and simply put, I love talking about his books, regardless whether or not I really like them. There's just so much to discuss. This review contains no spoilers, as it is targeted specifically to those who have yet to read the novel. However, even those who have read the book are more than welcome to watch and respond. Feel free to post video responses and or comments regarding the author, the novel, or my review in general. I ask that you be courteous by not posting spoilers from this book or any other book under this video. I'm planning to also upload a spoiler review targeted to those who have read the book and would like to discuss it. Spoiler posts relevant to Under the Dome will be allowed there. I'll be monitoring all comments for all my videos. The spoiler review will be more of an extension to this review, so seeing or listening to this review would make it easier to follow the spoiler one. Hopefully it'll be up by tonight, but now that I think about it, I'll probably have it up by tomorrow. I'll get it up as soon as possible. I'll post a link to the review on the sidebar and probably on the screen when it's ready. My first review is of Stephen King's newest novel, Under the Dome. Published on November 2009 by Scribner, Under the Dome is the story of a little town in Maine by the name of Chester's Mill that is suddenly and violently cut off from the outside world by some kind of mysterious invisible force field, later to be known as the Dome. Does that sound familiar? To those who have seen the Simpsons movie, it should. The Simpsons movie has a similar plot at first glance, but rest assured it's vastly different in just about every way. First of all, Stephen King was the first to get the idea. The Simpsons just beat him to the punch. Here's a quick history lesson on how the novel Under the Dome came to be. Stephen King first attempted to write Under the Dome in 1976, but found the technical problems to be too overwhelming, so he put the project aside after only 2 weeks. In the late summer of 2007, with the help of his friend Russ Dorr, a physician's assistant from Bridgeton, Maine, who agreed to become King's head researcher for the novel, Stephen King tried again. There were some moments that were very reminiscent of the Simpsons movie, but these are very minor and don't distract from the overall reading experience. Now, I would like to make something clear before I dive into this review. I did like the novel. I really did. I found it to be very well written. I love the concept, and I appreciated the social, environmental, and political messages the author was trying to get across. The fact that it kickstarts from page 1 and had me flipping through the first few hundred pages like a blackjack dealer on crack is testament to the book's ability to draw you into its story. However, I did have some problems with it. Many times, especially deeper into the book, these problems were strong enough to pull me out of the story. Usually I could get over personal issues relating to a story by telling myself it's fiction. This is one of the few exceptions. I had no problems at all for the first few hundred pages, but once the political situations got intense, it threw me off. Fact is, I just couldn't believe how many of the characters were acting. Along with some major events, I found many of the character actions to be silly, forced, unrealistic, and the way these aspects were written made it come across like a gimmick to further the story. I personally feel the character actions and certain events could have been more believable if it were done right, but the way they were presented had me shaking my head in disbelief, frowning in a what the F manner, or simply closing the book and calling it a night. The villains were so unlikable. I know you may be thinking, hey, they're bad guys, they're supposed to be unlikable. But it's not necessarily like that. Simply put, I didn't enjoy reading their scenes for the most part. I found many of them to be, again, too unrealistic and recklessly annoying. The fact that these people were so easily able to manipulate others just pissed me off, not because I was angry at them as a reader should be, but because I couldn't believe it. I also disliked how the general public was all but complete morons. Like I said, I could have believed these things if they were presented in a different way. It's very difficult to describe what I mean without spoiling it. You have to read the novel yourself to get a much clearer understanding of where I'm coming from. I have a feeling King knew how his characters would be portrayed by the average reader. I believe he did this to make a statement of sorts. Unfortunately, I think it will rub many readers the wrong way. Republicans beware. This book all but screams Democrat all the way. I'm not going to get into politics, but I think it's important to point out how anti-Republican this book is. It's slap in your face obvious. It's potentially distracting to anyone, Republican or not. The dang Chester's Mill Paper Company is called the Democrat, for crying out loud. And that's just a taste of what this book has in store. However, I did find I was able to ignore this with practice, something I couldn't do with the previous problems I've mentioned. There were also moments I felt would play a big role in the novel that unfortunately went nowhere or were completely forgotten and unexplained. The book goes through hundreds of pages talking about something only to give it a disappointing resolution or none at all. It's like those moments when you're watching an action movie or a thriller and something comes up and you think to yourself, "Oh snap, when that comes up later on, things are going to get interesting." Then that moment comes and you think to yourself, "Oh, here it comes, here it comes." Then it doesn't turn out anywhere close to what you were expecting or what you really wanted. Then you think to yourself, "Well, that was useless." Some may find the enormous cast of characters, around 100, daunting, but the book does come with the character index and even a little map to help you mentally navigate through the little town. As time goes by, characters obviously die, so it makes it a little easier to remember the others. Still, there were moments where I completely forgot about a character, and I had to go back to figure out who he or she is. The climax. It's not that I had a problem with the climax in particular, it's just that it was a bit anticlimactic. The book seemed to be building up to this epic moment, but I was instead blindsided by something totally unexpected. That's not to say that the event that took place was bad, but what it did was cause a ripple effect. It pretty much destroyed any possibility of a satisfying conclusion. It was intense, no doubt, and I liked how it was executed, but it left me feeling like there could have been so much more. I will get more into this in my other review. I think the biggest problem I had with the book, next to the unrealistic moments, was the explanation for the dome. Now, this is a spoiler-free review, so I won't get into it, but I will say I was very disappointed. The book really didn't have much mystery with the exception of the dome, so I was expecting it to deliver. Unfortunately, it seemed a bit tacked on, as it was as if King was deep in the writing process but forgot the novel had to have an explanation for the dome itself, so he quickly picked one off the top of his head. Honestly, I would have preferred him not to say how the dome came to be, keeping it a mystery rather than the explanation he gave us. It also felt anticlimactic, as the book seemed to be leaning toward a different explanation until the last few pages. I do know some people who liked how it came to be, but I'm not ready to join them. However, I do like some aspects to it. Again, I'll get into it on my other review. All things considered, what would have really made this a fantastic book would be an epilogue. One tying everything together. There are too many who, what, where, when, how, and whys. Overall, it was an enjoyable book. There were many awe-inspiring scenes, some intense ones, some emotional ones, some funny ones, some truly memorable ones. I love the one-liners of some of the characters, particularly those of Big Jim Rennie. Contrary to my thoughts on many of the villains, I absolutely enjoyed reading about the good guys. Barbie is one of the most likable characters King has created, and I also love the people behind him. While there are many moments that I didn't feel went anywhere, these moments kept me on the edge. For I saw how unpredictable the book was. Some moments will shock, no doubt. I love the little world that was created. It was fascinating reading about all these characters interacting with one another. And I really enjoy the quiet moments when characters will just talk back and forth with good intentions and love in their eyes, for these moments were hard to come by. The book is fast-paced, entertaining, and a solid read. I recommend it, but I do not think it's Stephen King's best, contrary to what I keep hearing before having read it myself. It may have started off that way, and maybe it even ended that way in a way, but there are just too many moments in between that bugged me. So there it is, my spoiler-free review of Under the Dome. Like I said before, I hope to have the extended spoiler review up as soon as I can. Be patient, the two of you who listen to this. Thanks for checking out my review.